Come on in the room. Yeah, come on in the room. Mm, Jesus is my doctor. Write all my prescription in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. This is Wine Me Down Wednesday. We got that real wine for your Wednesday. It's hump day, but we call it Wine Me Down Wednesday. We're going to get you over that hump. We're going to get you excited. We're going to get you motivated. So come on in the room. That's my theme music. Come on in the room. Well, come on in the room. Yes. Wind Me Down Wednesday. I am Alphonso McClendon, the host of I Got Ish to Say podcast. If you have not subscribed to our channel on YouTube, do so now. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Tell your friends that we got ish to say. We're going to talk about it all straight, no chaser. Might not like it, but it's going to make you think. I also want to say this Wind Me Down Wednesday is brought to you by the good people at Bad Juju Golf. Yes, they are sponsoring this episode of Wind Me Down Wednesday. This is where the golf course meet the conference room. Yeah, this is that wear that you can wear in the conference room and leave there, and the conference room becomes your golf course. So this episode is brought to you by the good people at Bad Juju Golf. Happy New Year from I Got Ish to Say. We got a lot to say in this beginning of the year. We've been silent up until now, but we gonna talk all about it. At the end of the year, my brother, he sent me a video on Instagram, and the guy was in the car with his wife, and he kept telling his wife, "Hey, I need to get home before the new year." And she's like, "Why are you rushing me?" He said, "I got to get this mess out of me." He was talking about a bowel movement, and she's like, "Just calm down. We're gonna get home. When we get home, we get home." And he was very adamant about, "No, I want to get this out of me." And so he said something to her that made me laugh, but think. He said, "I don't want to take this mess into the new year with me." He was talking about a bowel movement, but I'm talking about life. How much mess did we transfer from 2025 to 2026? I'm not talking about New Year's resolutions, because we all have resolutions for health, spirituality, you name it. But by the end of February, we're right back to that cycle of doing things as we did before. But it made me think, because we often say what we want to change in the new year. And in the beginning phases of the year, the first 15 to 20 days, we are making a conscious effort. But because it's not who we are, we revert back to the old person. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Lay aside every sin and weight that so easily beset us, and let us run this race." And that's the thing. We are having things attached to our lives that are holding us down from the call, the mission, and purpose of God. The thing about it is, the church is suffering a black eye, but it's a self inflicted wound. We have the world saying, "This is why I don't even deal with the church anymore," because the presentation of Christianity, the church is saying, "I don't see a difference between what we're doing and what the church is doing." Matter of fact, the church look like us, the church act like us, the church sound like us, the church is us. And we have selective grace in the Christian community. We'll give grace to certain people because certain people have a platform and certain people have status, and so we want to be accepted in that crowd. So we give grace to certain people. Then other people, we damn them to hell. But this is the Wind Me Down Wednesday that I want to bring to people who are searching Christ from a pure heart, and who really want to have relationship that's not commercialized. Christianity have become commercialized, and we hear all over the platforms, and as I study the platforms as a podcaster myself, I'm hearing what the church looked like to the world. And the Bible tells us to come from out among them. Be ye separate. We are peculiar people, but every day the world have influenced the church instead of the church influenced the world. Think about that. The world has influenced the church. The culture is saying how we should dress in church when there was a standard once before. The culture is saying how we should behave in church when we set a standard. And I've learned and I found out that when respect is lost, when you lose respect, your influence dies at the same time. So we wonder why our churches are empty. We wonder why people are not gravitating to the church because the church have lost the respect of the people. That's why we wrestle with why is it? It have nothing to do with COVID. People didn't get comfortable because we had online service. People got tired of the rhetoric every day because I can leave the church and there's no separation between the church and the club. There were some challenging days in 2025. There were some situations that happened, but just like that man in the post my brother sent me, I was dedicated and concerned about what mess am I bringing into 2026. You know, at the end of 2026, the last quarter was a very challenging time for me because I got my eyes off the prize. The mark was right before me, but I got my eyes off of it. And when I got my eyes off of it, my vision became blurry. And then at one point, I had no sight, right? But I thank God for waking me up and making me realize that what he have called me to do is more important than what I want for myself, right? Because Timothy comes to Paul and he says to Paul that God have called me to the gospel. And I love Paul's response. He never challenged what he said. He tells Timothy to make sure of this calling and then count up the cost because it's going to cost you something to walk with God. It's going to cost you something because the Bible tells us certain things is legal and lawful for us to do. But when it comes to the things of God, it's not expedient for us. It's not profitable because the Bible even tells me if I do something to myself that will cause another brother to stumble, I'm guilty of his sin. That's what the Bible says. We are to be mindful of the things that we do because we are representative of Christ. We don't want another brother or sister to stumble because of our actions. We have to take accountability of what we're doing. So today on Wind Me Down Wednesday, what mess that you didn't leave 2025 that you brought into 2026, and you are continuing your cycle of destruction. I want to live and I want to live abundantly because the Bible tells me when Jesus says, Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers. That is my goal for 2026. And the only way I can reach that goal is I got to leave that mess in 2025 that I caused, that I created, that I did. See, the thing about it, I'm not saying what somebody else did to me. I'm saying what I did to myself. Leave that mess in 2025. Pick up the vision that God has for you and run this race. Because I tell